Everybody, we are here again, the last round of the day. Apologies for the 10-minute delay on this one. We're trying to hunt out a bad cable. Somewhere in our infrastructure is a bad cable, and it's causing one of our streams to have issues. So we might have some intermittent connectivity for one of our players. Apologies for that. We're going to go ahead and get a kickoff right away. We want to get these team members back to their teams as soon as we can. So let's go ahead and get a countdown of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go! And now they're off. Okay, so we've already got the first one downloaded. So and this particular one, actually, can you grab me my notebook over there with our teams and whatnot? This one, we've got the new organizers, and I believe we've got Team Taiwan was the name that they requested, because it's, again, another one of these mega teams that has a conglomeration of many different teams. So we've got Team Balsan, Team 217, Team TSJ.TW. So there's another team that has TW in the name that's Tokyo Westerns,
right.
a Japanese team. But this is the Taiwanese team because it's .TW.
Right.
So let's go ahead
to mix up.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at team. I think Team Balsan should be the one that I've got over here on my monitor. And they are already off, and they're in IDA looking at our challenge. Now, again, you'll notice all of our challenges are named challenge, just the way that our Docker deployment kind of works. The official name of this challenge is called Nerd Sniped.
Right.
And
so what are things you can get nerd sniped by? A lot of things, but yeah. We'll see how that
I
plays
get nerd
out.
Sniped by like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Like a good puzzle maybe.
Yeah, a good puzzle. Could see, maybe something like that.
That'll do it. So we got you 1080p back and going. Hopefully we'll figure out our issue with our HDMI cable, and we'll have much better consistent capture across both team members tomorrow. Something about this cable is like it's heating up or something. Because we had several hours of testing last night with no problem, and something's going on now. So yeah. we'll give that a run. And sure enough, I literally just saw a rename solve puzzle. So we've renamed this function solve the puzzle. So what they're looking for, they know it's a puzzle of some sort. I'm curious if we get someone just kind of running it and interacting with the binary, or if we're going to more static analysis. But actually, yeah, this should be much higher quality with a full 1080. Unfortunately, we don't have even the local recordings. We're also not 1080. They were only in 720 as well. So I apologize. Those first couple matches, we're not going to have the higher quality video for those either. But all 12 other matches from here on out are going to be in high def because we have a lot of these to go. So you'll see your favorite players that won in the first couple rounds. They're going to come back. We're gonna see them again. Oh no, that was cool. What was I didn't notice that website. Have you seen that one before?
No.
I'm curious what that was. So now they're on the Ubuntu repo. They're getting a particular glibc version, which makes sense. That's often common. Now I think for most of these we included a libc if we thought it was necessary.
Yes.
So it's kind of a hint to the teams. Like if we're trying to give out everything that we could, make it as self-contained as possible. And so we'll see. We'll see if that one ends up being useful. But we've got our binary challenge. This one is starting to be a little bit more difficult, though. I would say.
Yeah.
Our challenge difficulty is cranking up.
Yes.
A tiny bit. And we're going to see that kind of trend throughout the whole rest of the weekend.
Right.
I'm sure we'll have some easier ones. Some that somebody finds an amazing solution to, solves it quickly.
Yeah. But on the topic of difficulty, that's. I mean, we have an idea of what's more difficult and what's easier and so on, but of course, we can be wrong. People can have different, specializations in their skill sets and so on. So something that we might think is
in both directions, right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. So something that we might think is easy might be actually kind of tricky, and then the other way around. So it's going to be interesting to see what's going on. There's still some the initial reverse engineering going on of the program. For example, this kind of step was not really needed in the previous challenge where we just gave them the full source code with names and everything.
And that is as an organizer, you have a lot of levers to pull. You have a lot. It's ironic because we have the organizers here playing, although unfortunately they're on our non-capture screen. Unfortunately, I just had to make sure that we had them lined up right. I freaked out for a second, not realizing yes they are on the right halves. But the team organizers, we're not seeing them. But as a challenge organizer, as somebody making challenges, You can strip a binary. You cannot strip a binary. You can include debug symbols. You cannot have any, so all these.
Yeah, different levels of optimizations.
Yep.
Well, like because a lot of optimization also kind of acts as a slight like obfuscation
Mild
as well.
obfuscation. Yeah, yeah.
So we have all seen these like optimized mem copies and everything, where you have all these like bits magic stuff going on.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you get vector operations in your mem copies,
Right.
and it's so. Yeah, and that's where to some degree you can make an easy challenge hard with just tedious things.
Yeah.
So it is interesting that you see a lot of sort of like I would say cheap challenge design where it's like, yeah, we just made it harder by doing X.
Right.
And it didn't make it more interesting. It just made it like, yeah, just slightly more annoying to do the thing that you want. So it's sometimes a really good easy challenge is actually like you're just really focusing on that one core thing that you want to do.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot of fun for what we're doing here. So,
right. So still, that's reversing and trying to name different things. We've seen like they name the functions like solve puzzle, and you see some variables getting named like the input. It's all trying to like get an understanding of what is this program doing, and there are kind of like two parts to it. Like first of all, like what's the intended functionality of the program, and then from there you can start to understand. In what way is it acting not as intended? Like where's the bug?
Or in this case, where the author intended a bug.
Right.
But in the normal case where it's unintended vulnerabilities, yeah, exactly. Or in this case, what's the surface level intended? What's it claimed to be able to do?
Yes.
And then what does it actually do that may be different?
Right.
So let's see what we're doing. So and this is nice too because we're actually getting. This is the first time we've seen a little reverse engineering workflow.
Yes.
Right?
A lot of the other ones have been like basically a quick glance at the code or disassembly has kind of like revealed what's going on.
Yeah.
Here they actually need to kind of understand what is going on.
Okay, so we're still sort of starting our framework for our exploit here, but I think it's just getting the menus and interacting with it, right? And so we're looking. Oh, okay. So there's a current puzzle state. All right. So. That puzzle looked interesting. That looked like maybe like a 9x9 grid of numbers.
Yeah, that could be maybe like a Sudoku.
I think that's a great guess. And of course, we're a little spoiled here, a little tainted knowledge, but this is indeed a Sudoku. In fact, when somebody was like kind of playtesting and validating this challenge, we sort of were like, wait a minute, you just solve a Sudoku and that's it? And the author was like, no. And that's not actually possible. So it is a little bit trickier than that. So we'll see as our teams discover it's not just a straight put it into a Sudoku solver, get a correct answer, and win. It is going to be a little bit more tricky. And this is one I am almost positive we're going to need a hint on.
Right.
So I'm going to propose at like 15 minutes in, if we don't see
like progress.
And in fact, actually, why don't you go ahead and take a look at the organizers maybe too?
Yes, I will do that.
And if we're looking for them to kind of have a hint as to what they're doing, like indicate that they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Oh, does it come on occasionally? Okay. So it's apparently flickering in and out. Occasionally we're getting our video. We swapped out the capture card. That worked for a while until it didn't. And then we swapped out the USB-C cable, and that worked for a while until it didn't. And so now we're convinced that it's just the HDMI cable itself that is causing trouble. And I think this has been true even if we were direct wired into the laptop. So it's not the capture on the other side. Yes, because we also did swap out the USB-C adapter once too. So we've swapped every component except the HDMI cable, partly because they're like taped to the floor and they're a 30-foot long cable. So we got to go and get some. Oh, there we go. I did see a solver pop up briefly. I saw a Sudoku solver.
I was just going to say, also the player from the organizers copy-pasted the current state of the puzzle and they Googled for a Sudoku solver. So we'll see to what extent that will help them. Again, I'm not completely familiar with the intended solution here, but I would assume that it still involves like solving the Sudoku, but not only doing that.
It is trickier than that. That's right. So I have a little bit more info. We're still seeing that kind of solver flash in and out occasionally on the display. So there's going to be some memory corruption here.
Yeah.
There is indeed. This is not just now. Although I will say, it is actually a perfectly valid category of challenge in a lot of CTFs, right? Where you would actually do have a more programming challenge or puzzle. That happens, and I think honestly, even in moderation, I think those can be fun and enjoyable.
Yes.
Mixed in amongst your traditional like hacking competition.
Yeah, typically they are branded as PPC. It's the category in normal CTFs, which I think is like Professional Programming Challenge or something like this. People familiar with like, ICPC style algorithms competitions or so might find. Although usually they're kind of like framed slightly differently.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like the same general idea there.
Yeah, and there's no security flaw. There's really just rather solving some hard mathematical problem with the right algorithm or with the right approach to kind of get it working.
Right.
So,
but that's not the case here. Like there's an aspect of that, but that's not enough. We are doing this is truly a pwnable. There is memory corruption involved.
Although I will say, and I'm looking to see if somebody finds the sort of like win function, like when you have a correct solve correct solve Sudoku. I think we're going to see like this function here. They've named it check, returns right whether or not we've successfully calculated a value, a valid solve. This the result of that is going to determine basically what you call a win function. So it is going to kind of do the win for you. So you already sort of know that you have to solve it.
Right.
Your just question is, okay, what mechanic will actually get me to solve it, and can I cheat it? Do I have to have a combination of a solver plus a cheat? Like what is that ratio going to entail?
Because at face value, it kind of looks like you just solve the Sudoku and you win.
Yeah. But DEF CON finals, even being a sort of easy live CTF, I would think people would be like, nah, wait a minute, like there's something here. And I think if you can also, there's not a lot of values here, and so I don't know. Like, I think the idea is that these are just not solvable because there's not enough information in there. Like some Sudoku puzzles are very minimal, but they're designed to be solved, right? They're made to be solvable.
I think I remember that. Like if you have 13 digits, you're guaranteed to have.
Oh, is that so?
A
Here we go.
unique
So
solution.
1, 2, 3. Okay, so this one definitely has more than that, but there's going to be some other issues with it still.
I'm not sure if my trivia is correct here, but
I
I vaguely remember, like, if you have 13 digits, you have a unique solution. You can have a unique solution with fewer digits, but it's not guaranteed.
I don't know that that's true, because I can just give you all of the ones, for example, and all of the twos.
But that's just 9.
And all the twos, and that doesn't give you enough information to know where all the other numbers are. Maybe in terms of like
because like you can so it's high. Maybe it's 21 or something. Then there is a number.
I would believe it.
I'm just
Where's our cracking the cryptic phone a friend?
Yes.
And go to the YouTube stream.
Yeah, great channel.
So here we go. We're seeing Sudoku solver Python. So we're seeing people investigate that. All right. We are now 15 minutes in.
Yes.
I think we should be preparing our hint, because I actually think this one is a little too subtle, and we're going to have to point them in the right direction.
Yes.
Without actually giving them the thing. So
yeah, and we should note this now that even though the time is like 24,
right,
like 5:24, we started a
10
bit
minutes
late because of technical difficulties. So they are only 15 minutes into the challenge.
Correct. So we have more time than the clock looks like compared to the other ones where we started much closer to on time. So we're trying a solver again. So trying a solver on here, which is not going to be sufficient. So I think we need to figure out if there is an official hint from the challenge author. So we've got Glenn over in the production booth, as it were, which is otherwise known as the other side of the table that we're sitting on here.
Yeah.
Is gonna reach out and see if we have an official.
We have like 3 times the number of computers compared to the number of crew members for this setup.
We have a lot of displays and I mean, an order of magnitude more cables, I think, than but it's and once we find out what is breaking our secondary capture, and so it's actually, speaking of which, I'm gonna go ahead and go take a look at the organizers. I want to see if they're making progress.
Right.
While we figure out what we're doing with that hint.
Yep.
If we're gonna give it, and if you guys have any questions about where we're going, let us know.
Yep.
And I'll be back with an update.
Great. So while Jordan does that, we can try to see is that okay. So I've just been informed that the puzzle that you were given is impossible to solve. That's the kind of the trick here. So at face value, everything looks fine. You just need to solve this Sudoku, but actually there is no solution. This is an invalid state for the Sudoku. Once they, and this is something that can really throw you off, right? Because if you take this and like you input it into a solver or something, and the solver says like, nah, there's no solution, you might be starting to think like maybe the solver has a bug, or like maybe the format of my input is wrong or something like this. And only later you might question the impossibility of the puzzle. So this is where they have to then cheat to solve the impossible Sudoku to then get this win function. We can see here on the Battlestone screen that they are looking still at the kind of the compilation here, thinking hard about this, trying to figure out like what is going on here, like why is this not working. They have this, it's this check function, right? So they're trying to think about like in what way does this function not behave correctly, maybe. Maybe they have realized that like you're given an impossible puzzle. So let's see, they're gonna try to, seems like they're writing like a small like formatting function. They're looping through like the X and Y axes and printing something. So yeah. Still unsure exactly where they're going with that, but let's see here now they run it.
So a quick update is both teams are taking the sort of wrong approach now, and they're still looking for solves. So the hint they're both going to get is you can't win, you need to cheat.
Right. Which is almost feel like there's some kind of deeper philosophical thing.
I mean, it's a true life statement, probably.
Yeah. It's. I had a lot of thoughts about that, but let's not go too off
too
topic.
Deep and too.
So
here's the other question: do we want to give them a little bit more of a hint? Do we want to tell them exactly kind of how, like, give them more of a hint as to what they want to change?
No,
I think we have time, right?
No, we have time. Let's do that. And in fact, well, that's too late now. I mean, I was thinking in terms of like, since this is the last match of the day, we could have afforded extending the standard game time, but,
but
I don't know if it's fair to do that once.
Well, we do it to the same two players. Either way, it's only fair relative to each other, because every match is different challenges, different conditions, and so to some degree,
right. So you could argue that it's fair,
but let's see, you can't win. You need to cheat. You need memory corruption.
Yes. It's dangerous to go alone. Like, take this memory corruption.
Take this. It's dangerous to go alone. Take this memory corruption. I love it. All right. Here goes the first hint.
Yes.
We'll see if this gets them on the right track again, or if we need to.
In the meantime, I'm trying to decipher what this script is doing. They have a solve function there, which then will not really help them since you can't solve this. It's still like, a little bit unclear where the players are in this. Unfortunately, we can't read the minds of the players. That would be immensely helpful when doing this type of commentary. We can just try to guess based on what we're seeing on the screen. So, and yeah, again, like if you have any questions or comments from all of you watching this.
I got some smiles. I wish you all could have seen it, but there was like, of course. Okay. So they were both, going down the solver approach. So I think we're going to see a lot more IDA now.
Right.
We're going to see them actually dig into the binary.
Right.
And follow it that way.
So that's nice to hear that like the hint was appropriately leveled and that it was useful to the players.
Yeah, I think they both were at a spot where it's going to help both of them. We'll see if either one starts to take advantage of that or not. Okay, yeah, so we're looking at check-sec, we're looking at the binary properties, seeing is,
Yes.
And that's actually a great habit to be in too. I really think that a lot of people overlook that. Again, we saw that last one with the Mallard, with the Ducks, where like it not being randomized, I think added a little bit extra slowdown there.
Right, yes, definitely.
Because you could have gone straight into,
Yeah, this is, I think I have this as a pretty good habit. Like, always run file, always run checksec.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. It's kind of like when you're doing reversing engineering challenges. Always run strings. Always bin walk.
Yeah.
Just like.
Just out of habit.
Yeah.
It's just like the things that you do.
Right.
All right. So let's watch this. Okay. So now we're seeing them actually where we want them. Now they're back to reverse engineering. They're looking for vulnerabilities, and what they're going to do is they're going to use the vulnerability to win. They're going to use the memory corruption to get to not code execution directly,
right,
but to the win state. So what they're going to do is they're going to need to corrupt in such a way that they can create a solved board. And they should hopefully still remember this, right? Because they know that the point was to win. They saw that. They saw the win. They saw the win state. They saw that's why they were trying to solve the puzzle. So I think they know that.
Yeah.
The question is, are they going to be able to figure out the memory corruption in time? So that's the question that we're looking for.
And this is kind of interesting, I think, this type of pwnable where, like a lot of pwnables, you have kind of this like standard workflow where you try to gain control of certain aspects of memory.
Yeah, you're trying. It's a pointer overwrite, or it's something that gets you a memory write, so you can get a pointer overwrite.
Like
so
to a ROP chain, to like, you know, but here you're just doing kind of like, maybe we'd call it like a local memory corruption. You're just like.
Or it's not quite a logic vulnerability in that it is memory corruption, but it's not useful. It's not being used for control flow hijacking. You're using it specifically to just
change the behavior
of the state and change the behavior, the functionality through its normal legitimate means, but by entering a memory state that it didn't intend for you to enter.
Right. So in a lot of these cases, for example, like the program wouldn't crash, for example, with the like if the exploit is like slightly.
Yeah, you just failed to get a correct puzzle. It's just not solved, right?
Yeah.
Which is not to say that they couldn't crash with this vulnerability necessarily. Totally. It depends on how it's actually constructed. Yes. But there are certainly use cases, or there are cases where an exploit isn't actually exploitable in the direct code execution state. It is rather just by exercising some other logical state of the program.
And I think in general, like everything we say here about like the pwnables and like general ideas, there are a lot of like ifs and buts and stuff like to all of these and exceptions. But we're trying to make some broad strokes here about different types of challenges.
I'm a little nervous. This one feels like the first one we might have to unleash a sudden death. I'm hoping we don't.
Right.
But I like the challenge because like we're talking about, I think it has that good twist that you're gonna not get a pointer overwrite, but you're gonna influence the state of the binary. So I'm hoping, and we've seen great work from all the teams so far. So we know we have high quality people. We'll see how it's going. This is also, I say, one of the larger binaries. We all get very small binaries, very, very self-contained.
Yep.
This was a little bigger. It's still, I think, small on the CTF scale of things, which in CTF is smaller than real-world binaries.
Oh, yeah.
But relative to the live CTF binaries, this is larger than some of them.
Yeah, luckily they don't have to, like, sift through a 300 megabyte binary.
What? Who doesn't love, sorting out massive binaries?
Yeah, I think I remember opening the Minecraft binary in IDA at some point. Then I went to bed and continued the day after.
Still,
no, I think it was like just barely finished, but it took like 8 or 9 hours to analyze that.
Yeah, big binary or even like obfuscated binaries can take a long time to analyze for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. So let's look. We're seeing an int 64 int.
So making sure the types are correct.
That's good. I think analyzing the types is useful. Although what I will say is that just looking at decompiled code is maybe not the best way to analyze any kind of type issues, right?
No, I think it's like it's a good start to give you the big picture, but then at some point you might have to drill down on things. And I think this is also kind of interesting again with like different types of pwnable challenges. Like some pwnable challenges, like the bug is obvious and the exploitation is difficult.
Absolutely.
And then you have these more like reversing heavy pwnables where like
you
have to figure out like very complex data structure. But once you have kind of sorted everything out, the bug just like appears. And then from there it's typically not that hard.
Yes. And I think our previous examples, several of our previous challenges were more on the side of like, it's obvious where the bug was, but actually landing it was sort of the tricky. Like we
Right.
just let you run syscalls,
Yes.
but which ones? That's the tricky part. Like actually your payload, the execution. Same thing with like NOP coding. Like we just ran your bytes, sort of. You had to like do that. It's, I think those sort of like shell coding heavy and those sort of like constrained environments are some of my favorite challenges. Probably because I'm just bad at the like the more I don't want to say tedious, but the more in-depth long-term reverse engineering.
So I mean, I'm more of a reverse engineer myself. So like I like those things, but then, for example, when you get to these like complex heap exploitation things, then I'm completely out of luck there.
Well, there's always just kind of familiarity and experience with it. One of the things I was going to mention, and I say this that I don't do the reversing heavy ones as an author of a reverse engineering tool.
Well, maybe that's why you built the tool, right?
But that's also why I have coworkers who are much better than I am. That's the other. I highly recommend that approach. One of the things that I was going to comment on is that I like one of the things that Ghidra I think really does well, that a lot of both IDA and Binja have actually changed as a result, is their side-by-side view. Having the synchronized side-by-side decompilation with this assembly, I think was a really important improvement and kind of like the standard workflow. And so now you'll see IDA and Binja both have much better split pane, synchronization, those kind of workflows. Very much inspired. I mean, I assume Ilfak also was inspired and was like, oh yeah, that's I like the way the Ghidra does that too. But certainly from Binja's perspective, like we definitely did that as well.
Yeah.
So I do think it's good seeing difference. Oh, here we go. We've got. Oh no, is that the same? That's just the same screen. But we are.
So they're looking at libc. Trying to download like the appropriate libc version, right?
Yeah.
So they're using this web page where you can like put in offsets for different functions to like
to match up with
like fingerprint the libc version and then download it. So most of the times I think you need like 2 offsets and then it will match to which version of libc is running. So again, when we're building these challenges, if we don't think they need libc, we're not providing it.
Now, that's not true in all competitions, though. So, they may not trust us yet. Right?
I think this is like, it is a convention among, I would say, like, experienced organizers within this.
Right, because why make that an extra
fun.
tedious step that it's just mechanical and you just go to the, we all know about the website, we all know how you would do that.
However, if you come up with a solution that's different than the intended one, you might have a solution which does require libc, and then you might go this route anyway.
Yeah. So it's not necessarily bad. It is just, it should be a hint that maybe you're not taking the intended route.
Right.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that you're wrong, but you might be venturing into like unknown territory.
All right. So let's be thinking about our next hint, because like I said, I'm a little concerned. We might need to do a different one.
Yes.
Oh no, triple tap control and get the spoken dictation pop up. I'm gonna go. Oh, nope, that's just somebody else in the background excited about something.
Yeah.
I thought for a second we had a surprise win and we're off screen. I'm gonna go ahead and check in with was it organizers is organizers.
Organizers is unfortunately not being captured.
So
we're kind of in the dark there.
So I'm gonna go see if I can get a little bit more of an insight. Hopefully we're making good progress there and I can come back with a little bit of an update.
Yep. And then maybe then go ahead with some hint then based on current status. Again, they're looking at like figuring out like libc versions or downloading like an Ubuntu image. I'm not entirely sure what's going on there, but yeah, we'll see if we can manage to kind of like see in what direction they're going with this. But yeah, it would be very interesting to see like if they have kind of figured out where this check function is going on. Unfortunately, I don't have like the reference solution, so I'm not like super familiar with like exactly where it's doing something incorrect. But yeah, it's also going to be interesting to hear then what the organizers are up to, if they have good progress. So we're also kind of a little bit in the dark on that, but hopefully I think we are going to give them a hint. I'd see Jordan and Glenn are discussing a little bit, but what's the exact hint that we want to give them here to point them in the right direction. It's, yeah, you can see here in the lower corner here, we have from time to time we have the organizer's screen like flickering in and out. Unfortunately, that's the tech situation right now. And in the meantime, I can give you a little bit of an update on the combined scoreboard for the DEF CON CTF. We have still like a fairly tight race. We have a span of about 18,000 points for the leaders, Katsabin, down to 14,000 points for the team in 16th place. So definitely still, like, everyone is definitely still in the game. With top 3 being Katsabin, MMM, and Perfect Roots, and they are all within like, less than some percent or so of each other. So it's or maybe like 10% of each other. So yeah, definitely a good competition there.
Sorry for the noise
Jordan is coming back here. So what's the
right.
status? What's organizers doing?
We're gonna need some hints. They're both still looking. I don't see any kind of progress.
Right.
So we're gonna drop a hint.
Yes.
The hint that we're gonna there's a couple of hints we considered. One is, have you considered fuzzing? Because literally just sending in a bunch of bytes will actually cause overwrite your game state.
Yes.
Right. So that's the key thing that they need to figure out. That if they send in just a too big of a solution, it will actually corrupt the state, and they'll get weird boards. And then it's a matter of, oh, okay, how do I now create a board that would be solvable?
Right.
So one that we considered. The other one was don't let yourself be boxed in to your solution. It's a Sudoku puzzle. That's a little probably more obscure. So
yeah.
I think we're going to go with just how big is your solution again? Question mark. Or how many bytes is your solution? Question mark. As our next hint, and I think we're going to need to give them that because there's still some work to be done.
Right.
And we want to give them both a shot at getting it. Otherwise, we're going to go to our sudden death. So that's the hint we're going to go with.
In the meantime, we had a comment here from Kigef. These seems interesting sea challenges. I think I would try them all, but I'm sure I would take a lot longer.
I would too.
Yeah.
So that's okay.
But it is like a good idea. I mean, in general for CTFs to like try out challenges after they've been solved. Normally for a lot of CTFs, people publish write-ups. So you can like try the challenges that you didn't manage to solve and then kind of use like a write-up or so as a reference and guide your attempt as well to learn more. I think the idea is that we are releasing all the challenges. It might take a few days for us to recover from this weekend. We have 15 matches, so another 11 matches to go after this one. But yeah, we will definitely publish them. And then yeah, you can even like organize your own like mini tournament in your own CTF team or hacker space. I know that I heard from before the competition that Shellfish actually did some practice for this tournament by doing like a small mini competition of their own within the team, which I think is really
it paid off. At least it appears it paid off. They were one of the winning teams.
Yeah, we'll see how far they can go. So we have the hints prepared. Jordan is going to go and hand that off to the players. We are, what's the clock at? So we are, 5:45. So we are 35 minutes into the game, which just means that we are running up like against the sudden death clock here. Let's see if they can manage to figure out this. On the other hand, this is also kind of a similar situation to the previous challenge where we were 35 minutes into the game and then it kind of just like clicked for one of the players and they managed to go all the way. So it's going to be really exciting to see what's going on. Still a bit difficult to kind of like get a read on Balson's progress or like their understanding of they're kind of like looking at the code, probably thinking very hard about. You can see like the mouse moving around, trying to build this mental model of what's going on. You're like kind of like running the code in your head. What if this has this value? Like, how does that
It's
propagate?
probably the least interesting part of a live CTF, right? That's the only downside when you have a more reverse engineering heavy challenge.
Yes.
Is that you're just seeing people like maybe name stuff if you're lucky or add
Yeah.
comments, but most of the time it's just looking at it.
Right.
And what you're getting closer when you start seeing a crash in a debugger and a payload being written.
Yeah.
And we don't have it yet. I'm going to go ahead and keep an eye on the organizers just briefly.
Yeah.
And see if we get any kind of that similar progress.
Right. So we have.
Oh, okay. We did have a comment somebody else pointed out. Thank you for clarifying. The reason that somebody was looking for the libc was to actually run it, because if you don't have the same VM handy, you can't run that libc. So you can just grab the libc from another version of Linux to be able to run the binary. So that is a completely valid reason that you might do that.
Yes.
Probably just easier to maybe look at a previous stream, or have we actually? I don't think we've told people what platform that all of our challenges were created on. That's actually a good note.
Yeah. So
for future things we should, because that's again normal in a CTF, happens all the time. You have to figure out the OS that it was created for, match version information and whatnot.
Right.
Not our intention to make that part of the challenge here.
And it's the thing. It's like Ubuntu 22 was somewhat recently went in like LTS release, and a lot of people haven't updated to that yet. I will accept like shared responsibility on this, because update your computers, people. But
2004, 2204 would probably be the Ubuntu. It's most common, or Debian.
Yeah.
Certainly it's frequently. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look at the organizers. I'll be back and we'll see how it's going.
Awesome. So I was talking about something when it comes to these challenges. Trying to get back on my train of thought there with yes, so with this looking at another player, looking at code, trying to figure things out. A lot of times when I talk to people who are not experienced CTF players or don't know what CTFs are, you often get the question, is like, oh, is this some kind of like esports thing, or like couldn't you make this into some kind of like esports thing? And to an extent, this is kind of what we're trying to do here, but of course it has its shortcomings, that like some aspects of CTF is kind of like watching someone else take a maths exam. It's occasionally not the most exciting. So we're really trying to, by adding this commentary and trying to understand what the players are doing, we're trying to make this an interesting and educational experience for all of you viewers there. So I hope you do enjoy this, and that you're going to have some takeaways, and definitely check out the challenges afterwards to also kind of get a feel for that's, some of these might seem simple, but when you're sitting here and actually trying to do it, you have to consider and take into account all of these like small little details. Like if you're just off by one, like a small bit somewhere, like the whole thing doesn't work, you need to do all this troubleshooting, debugging. And I think I mentioned it earlier, but like when you're writing exploits, you are essentially, it's like software development, but with your like hands tied behind your back. You don't get like all the nice tools and helps and error messages that you get like during normal software development processes, where you have all of these modern tools to help you. But here you're kind of like, you're trying to bend something in a way that was not like intended to be used. You're messing with like a state of memory and so on. So you really have like everything stacked against you, and that is like a big part of the challenge when doing these ponables, these memory corruption challenges. Looking here at the code here, we can see that the Battlestar player is writing some small helper function here to send a number. Maybe they're gonna try to use this to try to send a different number of numbers, and see if they get any kind of reaction out of that. Haven't really seen yet what. Oh, so now they're gonna send like 1,000 zeros. That's interesting. So I have a comment here like, yeah, it's unsolvable. Yeah, like the Sudoku itself is unsolvable, and that's kind of like the twist of this whole thing. That at face value, just solve the Sudoku and win, but then it's unsolvable. So, yeah, that's kind of like the recap for people just recently tuning in. And speaking of recap, just to tell you again a little bit about what we're doing here. So, we're here in Vegas on site at DEF CON, so organizing this live CDF as part of the official DEF CON CDF. So this is kind of like a sub-event where all the 16 participating teams participate in this like single elimination knockout tournament, where in each match the teams send one player to go head-to-head against the other team to be the first one to solve a relatively simple CTF challenge.
I mean, relatively is relative.
Yes, and that's
So-
I really want to stress relatively.
And I want to be clear. I wouldn't personally solve half of the ones that we're fielding in the allotted time. We tried some of them, and I could get them, but maybe take a little bit longer. So I have a lot of respect for these people. They're all very, very good, and they're dealing with the pressure of being on camera. There's a crowd standing around them, watching them. It is. It can
super
be.
cool.
It can be pretty nerve-wracking. So I'm predicting. Oh, that is quite the visual effect there.
Yeah, the photosensitivity warnings here.
I think it's only on our monitor. I don't see it on
No,
stream.
it's on stream as well. Yes, we have some
Yeah, so
glitching. Not sure what that's about. Feels like our whole infrastructure is slowly melting. So we will.
no, it's fine. Stay with us. Wow, that is unusual.
Yep.
Um,
Maybe we're getting hacked by the players, like through the HDMI cables.
they're playing the other game, the
Yes.
other CTF
Yeah,
challenge.
I mean, we would
You
be
know.
lying if we would say that we did not have a discussion about like what shenanigans could the teams
Yeah, and-
try to pull off.
and how we would
Yeah.
measure against it or what we would do. So
Doing that kind of like threat analysis or threat modeling against.
we have 3 more minutes. We have
Wow.
3 more minutes
Wow.
until it's gone. This has been a very fast 45 minutes. It's looking unlikely that either one. I did see some debugger action.
Yes.
I'm going to make one last pass. If we see somebody very close, so they're making progress, we might be able to give them just a little bit extra. But basically, we're about ready to deploy. Or if they obviously want to extend it. That's not a bad idea. We can both ask both. If they both say they want to extend it, we'll let them go because they're the last one.
Yeah, and if so, the rules are if one of them says they don't like they want to go sudden death, then
We
we
go
go sudden
sudden
death.
death.
If
That's
both of them want to
exactly
extend
right.
it, then it's fine.
Exactly right. I'll go see what they say.
But ask them like independent, like one on one, like to not give any like pressure. Yeah, I mean it would be cool to see a solution on this, and I think we do, since we have been keeping up with the schedule, we do have that kind of time. But again, it's difficult to say what the players want. Like this is also kind of like a kind of game theory thing. Like, do you want to go to sudden death or not? Like it's a high risk environment, right? When you're going to do this super fast. Do you think that because you don't know the progress of the other player? Like, do you think you have better progress than the other player in this challenge right now? And if you don't, do you think you have a better chance of beating them in the sudden death one versus catching up with them in the current challenge? It's definitely not an easy decision to make by the players. So what's the verdict?
What do you think? What would you, if you're in their shoes?
Oh no, I would say extend it.
Absolutely.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Nice. So
Absolutely.
we have a game here.
Yeah. So I'm happy with this because
Yes.
I don't want to change the rules
Yep.
in a way that they're unhappy with. But
Yes.
they both want to solve it. Nobody wants to give up on a
No,
challenge.
no.
That you've been working hard. That you started. You have a little bit of an idea.
Right.
I'm glad. I really want to see them see this through.
Yes.
We'll let them go. It's the last one of the day, so we're not running over anything else. I'm actually kind of excited.
No, 100%. So, story related to that. So, I was playing in the qualifiers for the DEF CON CTF with our Scandinavian team, Norse Code, and I was basically sitting all weekend with one challenge. So, I mean, I took breaks and met some friends and stuff, but there was a lot of hours.
This is Perry's challenge.
This was Paris
Yeah.
challenge. It was the crypto pwnable thing. So after, I don't know if I spent, I don't remember if it was like 10, 20 or 30 hours on this, but regardless, I solved it like 2 minutes after the CTF ended.
Yep.
And that, yeah, I mean.
On the one hand, it's crushing, and on the other hand, though, you still solved it.
Yes.
You still
Yes.
solved it.
And that's the thing, like, when the time ran out, like, I could have just stopped because, like, it doesn't matter anymore. Like, we're not going to get any points. but I was so close. I did not want to stop there.
Yep.
Yeah. So the only kind of like saving grace for, or what you want to call it for that, was that in the end, solving that challenge or not would not have affected whether we qualified or not.
That would have been crushing. That's a little demoralizing.
Yes,
when it would have been the difference.
Luckily, even if with those points we would have been just below the qualifying limits.
Yeah. So at least you had clarity there either way.
Yeah, I was comfortable with that. That was fine. And also that means that I could be part of this without having to like betray the team, right? So yeah, turned out okay.
So we are.
There was a question here about whether it was NCAT. No, this was the. It was a crypto pwnable challenge. It was about like a function closure thing. C++.
We could go ask. Yeah, Perry. She's somewhere. She just was in the room. She just left.
Right.
But yeah, I've heard a number of people that worked on that.
It was a great challenge. Like I enjoyed it a lot. But it was tough.
Okay, so. We don't have a hard time limit now. Now it's basically we're just going to let it go until either we are convinced it's going to take way too long, or we'll see at this point. But they both want to keep going. I would love for one of them to get it. It not only means we get to save one of our sudden deaths, but I think it's just way more fulfilling for them and for the audience to see kind of like the hard one solved. So we're looking forward to it. It is interesting that we've got ROP gadget address just kind of coming out. It looks like a template, I think, that this existed, because hopefully they have an idea that is.
But we are seeing like someone is writing something very deliberate here, right? This is like to print out the board somehow, but let's see. They are trying to see. I mean, this like double loop there is to print out some state, but that part above. You see something where they're like cutting off, they're swapping. All right. Oh, is this just to
generate
a solution that they?
I mean, I would just search the internet for solve Sudoku board and copy and paste it. But if that is what they're doing, that would be valid too.
Right. So the idea is that you want to kind of like overflow and stuff to like basically insert, to modify the state into something that's either solvable or already solved, so they need to have that.
Okay, so we're seeing interesting. We're seeing calculations. We're seeing length calculations. Unfortunately, I was hoping we get some more video from the new organizer. Oh, it came in briefly.
Yes, there was some debugger output there, right?
Yeah, yeah. We'll leave it up for a second and just kind of show them both, and we might be able to see a little bit. Yep. See there, it's coming on. Man, that's tantalizing. That's so mean.
Yeah.
This cable has been.
Yeah, we might have to do some shopping.
Oh, there is definitely a shopping run tonight.
Yes.
So we should be able to have this solved and out of the way. And that way we got a long day, 8 hours tomorrow of hopefully uninterrupted stream.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see if that turns out to be the case. I mean, given that it's only been, we've swapped out the capture card, the USB-C cable. The HDMI is the only thing we haven't swapped out, but it's been that same side of the table consistently.
Yes.
That's been having these problems.
Yeah.
Makes me think that, we've just got an HDMI cable that is suspicious. So we'll see if we can get that going. All right. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and do another in-person look. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at new organizers. We'll be back with an update shortly, because debugger's generally a good sign.
Yes. I saw. Oh wait.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
I saw like a bin bash string in the debugger there somehow. But that doesn't really make sense, right? Because there's already,
I mean, with the intended solution, that doesn't mean they're not going to do.
Oh no, yeah.
And there also is the. So I'm trying to remember how the win function runs. It may just show. It may be from the win function on the stack as well too. I don't remember, but no, they shouldn't be getting to that.
Yes.
Let's see. I don't see the.
In the meantime, I wanted to take just ask people who are watching whether you are is anyone here in Vegas attending DEF CON, or are you watching from all over the world? Like, who do we have here?
I think we saw someone from Kenya even chimed in earlier.
Oh,
and
wow.
said that they were watching, so we know we do have some worldwide watchers.
It's gonna be interesting to go and see those analytics afterwards, see who's watching. But yeah, it's do we have any people? So, and by the way, like if you are if you're here at DEF CON, feel free to come by in the CTF area.
We probably won't be able to talk a ton, but hopefully we get
like
some
if
breaks.
you come during matches, you can watch the matches. If you come between matches, you
Yeah.
can have a chat with us. Hopefully, if we're not panicking. Someone's watching from the CTF floor. Okay, nice. And also from Europe in the hotel room, giving your feet a break. Yeah, that's a wise decision, I think.
I'm ready for my feet, my throat, like several parts of me need a break.
Oh
at this
yeah,
point.
yeah. I mean, we've been talking here for like
Okay, so
several hours
this
now.
is interesting. These there's ASCII values are being converted to integers on this. So we're looking at a debugger dump of the game state,
nice,
right? So
nice.
we do see the game state, the zero. It's really obvious to see those numbers.
Cool.
Yeah,
and you can see. Look at that base thing there. You have like generating a list of integers from 0 to 96, which is interesting. Is that? Yeah. We have watchers from Estonia, Brazil, people who are saying they want to go visit DEF CON in the future. Yeah, I think DEF CON is like, it's a cool event to visit. It's.
I think they're trying to increase the amount of streaming and online presence as well too. So you probably will be able to find other streams. I think there's even some webcam, like 360-degree webcam, virtual cameras they're putting up in a couple of the rooms where you can watch what's going on. So they're trying to improve like the accessibility. I mean, I'm certainly with COVID in general, most conferences have tried to adapt better for. Oh, okay, we have somebody watching right next to our camera. Let's hope they don't bump it.
Yeah. But anyway, again, checking the code here they're writing. I'm trying to get a better feel for what they're doing. Like. Again, they're generating like a list of numbers.
Okay.
Oh, so they need to find like the right offset for their overflow.
This actually looks really good.
Yes.
This actually does look really good. I'm
because
glad
like
we let them go.
once they finish this.
Yeah. If they can get the right offsets.
Like
let me go look at the other one, but we might be closing in.
Yes. So that's really cool. Like we can once they get that thing, it's gonna be real quick. Like we are probably gonna miss. There's a big risk we're gonna miss like the moment, but so basically if I'm reading this correctly, what they're trying to do is like find the offset in memory, like they're overflowing something and then like how far into this do they want to put whatever they are placing there, which should be the solved or solvable state. Yeah, they might definitely be onto something. They're switching the numbers around a little bit. Maybe it's that they switched the zeros to a 1, which seemed to have crashed the program, and then checking why this is happening. Yeah, we have someone from Morocco as well. Cool. It's cool to see we have people all over. I guess I'm trying to like work out like what time it is across the world at the moment. But but the people watching from Europe, it's like in the middle of the night there. So that's dedication. Hope you're enjoying it. Trying to see here, they're just quickly looking at the disassembly again. Trying to maybe looking for some specific offset or so. Yes, they did get some specific offset to put a breakpoint there, right? And then they're also looking at the base. To make the breakpoint and or maybe not the breakpoint or the offset where to inspect the memory. Oh yeah, people saying they're watching from like definitely middle of the night. Awesome. Netherlands represented as well. So I'm seeing some interesting stuff there, but what did you see from the organizers? From the organizers?
Yeah, so I mean, I hate to take bets.
Yeah.
Because I've lost a lot of money at this table so far. If this was a gambling arrangement, I would not be doing so well. But I also feel like I tend to favor my side of the table.
Yeah.
And then we've had all these surprise victories from the other ones pop up several times. But all that said, I do think Team Taiwan has a little bit of a lead. So looking at the new organizers, we've got a script. It has a bunch of a mixture of GDB, some Pwn tools, and then as well as sending inputs and kind of breaking in. I didn't get the sense that they had an overall plan for what to do.
Right.
But again, definitely the one thing I've learned is that I don't know what I'm doing anyways. Like it is really hard to understand exactly what's going on in their heads, and so you're not always right. Whereas I will say, it certainly looked like with that offset, right, that we were seeing a valid solved Sudoku, trying to find the right offset to line it up, which sounds like, from what I understand of it, is the intended solution. So we'll see.
Yep. It's
Can we get some confirmation? Is the solution, if is it just misaligning the correct board a certain number of bytes, will that trigger it essentially? Any correct board at the right offset. So just put the right amount of padding bytes in, and then it will overwrite it the right. Say again.
Yep.
Then you mark it as solved. Yeah. Oh, just send anything, and it will just mark it as solved.
Right.
Okay.
So what our producer there said was that you send a solvable state, you overwrite the state with the solvable one, and then you just send something to like trigger the recheck and like have it be solved, and then you get the win there. We can see here they are like working out in a text editor. I think
Yeah,
they're
but
like
it still looks like they're trying to solve the state as it exists, not overwrite the state with their solve. Like, so what I saw, but I wonder, I'm a little afraid they got the overwrite, but if their exploit didn't try to like send another round for validation, it like overwrote it, but then never.
Oh wow, that would be terrible.
So it is possible that they essentially had the right solution,
that's painful.
just didn't re-trigger it to be able to actually get to the win function. So we will see. We're only a little bit late, especially we have 2 more minutes before the original length of this, and we're letting it run long just because of the last one of the day. And we prefer they have a chance to do it if they can, but our voices will give out, and there will be some point which we say, sorry, we're cutting you off, but none of us want that to happen. So we'll see.
Yeah, we're taking a bet here and hoping this will work.
We're also about to lose power on our chat.
Yes.
Tunisia, excellent, welcome.
Yeah, I've been to Tunisia for a CTF competition.
Have you really? I think I got invited to speak there one time at a conference, and there we go.
So
let's see if that actually powers it. I don't know what this is plugged into at this point. Yeah,
we have power on one of our screens here. That's
all right, good. And that
we also have like a graphical glitch on the Balsam screen.
But it's just blocking the ads, so I'm okay with it. That sounds great.
Okay,
I wish all of my graphics glitches just blocked out ads as I surfed on the web.
So as an employee of a big ad tech company, I will have to
a large tech company whose revenue might depend heavily on ad.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah. Are you allowed to run ad blockers? No, I'm not gonna make you talk at work. I'm not gonna make you talk at work. all right. I'm not gonna do that. All right. So here we go. So this still feels like we're trying to solve it. I don't see the exploit. Like, I don't see them actually like exploiting it.
Well, I mean, this might still work. Like, if their idea is to just like overwrite a couple of values and then make it solvable and then put it in the solution. Like,
but
it's not a fast solution.
They're going to inherently have to overwrite the whole thing, though, right? Because they're just linearly overwriting
well,
it.
I mean, it might be that they think that they can only overwrite like the beginning of it or something like this.
You're still going to have a null at the end. So no, not necessarily, because it's going to convert in red. Yeah, no, that's okay. That's fair.
I mean, it could work. Like, it's not the intended play, but it could probably work. So yeah.
Unless there's a question mark at the very end of the puzzle. If there's an unallocated one at the very end, that would have to be, well, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. All right. Few more bits. Thanks everybody for hanging with us. This has been like just utterly exhausting and super exciting. Just as a quick recap, from our earlier games, we had a nail biter of a finish at the very beginning from Shellfish versus PTB WTL.
Oh yeah, like they were, I think, within a few keystrokes of each other.
Yeah,
Like you can't get a
unquestionably.
tighter match. Like
I know.
we were looking at one screen as they were
About to declare a winner.
Yeah, and then
when
the
all
other
of a
one
sudden
won.
it popped. It just was so quick. Yeah. So that was fantastic. Make sure you go back and check the replay on that one. We're gonna end the stream today when we're done with this particular challenge. Oops, sorry about that. If I hit the microphone. We're gonna end the stream today once we're done with this challenge, and we wrap it up. But we'll be back tomorrow. A long day tomorrow. So the stream is gonna run for 8 hours straight. Actually, I guess 9 at least because we've got 8 challenge. No, that's right. Eight total hours.
Eight
Each
hours.
one's a 1 hour thing.
Yeah.
We'll see. We may end up needing a break. Well, we're going to try to get breaks by trading off. You're going to see some guest commentators. We're going to have some other people come in and fill out different roles.
Should we? I think it was already written on Twitter, but the idea is to have we have a live overflow. Hopefully joining in, and Camoso, Brandon Falk. So two popular people in like the security like content creation space.
Yeah. I'm excited. Looking forward to chatting with both of them, and I'm also looking forward to have a break. And as we each get to maybe alternate every other round, so one of us will get to take a rest, and also make sure we give our producer Glenn a break as well. So we'll be cycling through that. We've got a variety of different challenges. Maybe for any of the teams that happen to be listening, we want to talk about like the overall types of challenges that we have. No super spoilers, but like I will say, I think we're pretty representative.
Right. There
We've
is
seen
a
heavy opponent focus, a little bit of RE.
Yes.
There's certainly a little bit like shell coding or constrained exploitation. Solution.
Just having a quick look here again.
Yeah, trying to get caught back up.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So they have a solution there, right? So they're solve scripts.
This is, I mean, they have a solved solution, but
yeah, there's a hashtag free Jordan, Glenn, and Kalle in the chat. So yeah, just to clarify, that's my nickname or like then so yeah, in the chat.
Hack harder. Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, if thank you, Negasora, this random person who showed up in our chat. Certainly not the author of this particular challenge that is stymied our opponents for so long. So
right.
Yeah, but you're not wrong. If they just would hack harder, we could take a break and we could
get some dinner.
So let us consider it is. I would say we are going to have to hit sudden death pretty soon because we're looking at another several minutes of sudden death as well. So we'll take a look. Maybe I'll take one more pass at new organizers. We'll talk about having a queuing up a sudden death. We'll kind of consider what we want to go.
Yeah. I'll go ahead and give a bit of a just use a data glove. That's a
what is a data glove? That's a reference I don't get.
Isn't that the game controller thing? That's
the
power
glove.
That's a power glove.
Yeah.
Oh,
a child of the 80s, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I mean, yes,
Wait,
that's like
Sam,
from before I was born.
Sam, no trolling. No trolling.
Please stay.
No
yeah.
stego.
No.
No.
Yeah,
we will find you. You're in the room. We remember this. No.
Yeah, we don't talk like that. That's
yeah. Don't use it. Yeah. Next you're going to be asking for network forensics or something crazy.
Yeah. We might call the goons.
Yeah. Have them take you out of the room.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go check out new organizers and we'll be back.
Definitely. I'll give an update on the DEF CON CTF scoreboard in the meantime. So we have like a slightly larger spread now. With like spanning from just below 14,000 up to just above 18,000 points between the 16th and the first place, with Katsubin in first place, MMM in second place, and Perfect Root in third place. And if I'm not misremembering, I think last year we did have like a top fight between Katsubin and PPP as well. They have kind of pulled ahead, those two teams, and created like a slight gap down to third place. So I do think this like mirrors some of what we saw last year with regards to like the standings. But This is only the first day of the DEF CON CTF. A lot of stuff can happen. This is like far from over. So we're going to be keeping an eye on that throughout the weekend and give you updates. It's, yeah, I mean, if you're here in the CTF room, you can see this really funny visualization the Nautilus Institute have put up. It's like some 3D animation of like a bunch of weird machines, one for each team, like spitting random objects at the other teams, like showing, I guess it's showing like who is attacking whom. Possibly there's like seashells and stuff flying around. You know, I guess there's some joke about like shells and seashells, and you know that. But again, taking a look at the screen of Balsan here, I'm still not entirely sure. They have this like partial solution, or like a solution. They have split up the solution into two parts, and then trying to send some, like they're sending some data, and then they're sending the other solution. Still not exactly sure what's going on. So we have explanation data handler crazy keyboards. Yeah, I will have to look that up afterwards. But yeah, I'm still thinking power gloves would you know, really help out in this situation. Maybe you could have them like you know, different like ROP gadgets and stuff mapped to the different buttons and stuff. That's you know, the way to go. Anyway, you can see them like in the debugger here, inspecting the memory there a little bit. So them looking at the global variables. You can see you have the standard in and standard out object, and then further down they have these objects, and you can see the byte values there in the like the middle of the printed out block with the different digits of the Sudoku solution. Yeah, it feels like they are very close to getting it, but still like a bit unsure exactly what's going on. Yeah, we have Jordan coming back here now, so we'll get an update on where we are.
We are going to give them a sudden death hint. We're going to give them a hint that is just because here's the thing that we have missed talking about it so far. I was looking back over with the example solution, and the nuance here is that there's a length check that has been kind of showing up a little bit. Now, length check basically prevents you from, even if you overwrite it with a fully solved board, from actually solving it on that throw.
Okay.
So you overwrite the state of the board, all but the last one.
Right.
And the last one you leave empty, and then you can just solve it by overwriting the correct last answer.
I see. So it's a little bit along the lines what we've been talking about, but it seems that they've done like a weaker variant of that, where they didn't have like as good of a solution. There's a question chat here about, is there anywhere that explains the CTF format? There's an 80 going on as well as these 1v1s. Yes, so kind of like the main CTF, the DEF CON CTF, is the traditional DEF CON attack defense that you know we all know and love. Although you know there have been like variants and twists to it over the years. Then within this competition, this live CTF is like a sub-event where it's running parallel to the attack defense aspect of this. So each team sends one player for each match, and then we play this knockout tournament, and at the end this will generate a ranking from the knockout tournament, which is then fed back in and will affect the scores of the main CTF event. So this will be valuable and might definitely affect the final standings of the DEF CON CTF. I'm not completely aware of like what's like the weighting factor is, like how the scoring model works for the CTF, so I couldn't tell you like exactly how valuable it is to win the tournament versus getting second place, but we've been trying to find a balance where the teams can definitely not ignore
I'll tell you in a second, but
yes.
First I'm going to go deliver the hints, and I'll be right back, and we'll see if we can bring this one home.
Right. Can you just read me the hints here first?
Here we go. First attempt, overwrite almost all. Second attempt, solves due to length check.
Yes. Sounds
This is
great.
the hints, and we will see if this does it.
Yeah. This is almost like a straight up solution. Like this could almost be like a write-up for the.
You have to understand what the program does, and that's the state that they've got.
Yeah, but they have that.
Yes.
So now we're gonna give them like the final, hopefully final hint here that will just like hopefully blow this case wide open and may have them solve it from there. Did we get any reaction from the players on that?
I was too busy coming back. I should have watched.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, we got some forehead touching.
Okay.
Says our producer.
Yes. So we'll see. Will it?
I think this one I think is on us.
Yeah.
I think this was a little too subtle for what we're kind of aiming for. And again, being in a high pressure thing, this is not to say that these are not excellent exploders. It is just very hard, and this was a little bit nuance, a little subtle nuance.
Oh yeah.
Because of the way that the length check happens in the binary, you can't actually fully overwrite and expect it to do it. It will already know that it's an invalid attempt, and so it's not solvable. But then you have overwritten the correct state such that you can then solve it because you moved it from an insolvable state to a solvable state.
Right.
And somebody else might have got it. You don't know, but this is definitely a little harder. Certainly, it's more subtle than some of our previous challenges.
Yes.
But we'll see. We'll do our best to keep dialing in the difficulty and see how it goes. So let's keep an eye out for the winner. We may see, because we're not looking at the new organizers, we might get that off screen, or we might see Team Taiwan pull it off here in the main window. So I keep rooting for whoever we have the capture card working on, just by very nature of being on my side of the table.
Yeah.
But
like being a Swiss, not citizen, but Swiss resident, I'm kind of like maybe rooting for organizers a little bit. So
are they a Swiss team?
So they are a Swiss British American team, I think.
Okay. Oh, there we go. All right.
So there,
we have the winner.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Oh my God.
Down to the end.
It happened again. Again. So I'm going to go. You can
go congratulate them. Go talk to the team. I'm going to go ahead and see y'all out. Just a quick summary. I think we've already kind of covered what's happening the rest of the day. We're going to go recuperate. We're going to fix our HDMI cable, so we'll come back with tomorrow. We'll hopefully have the ability to see both screens more effectively instead of having the flickering that we had this time. And we look forward to seeing 8 challenges. We're going to have 8 more rounds. We're going to finish up in the morning, 4 more rounds of round 1. And then in the afternoon, we're going to move straight into round 2. And we're going to go all the way from 8 teams all the way down to 4 by the end of tomorrow. So come back and see that long day. Look forward to seeing you then. Take care and have a good one.
you